Guess whose ugly mug you got? Hump Day, happy hour. Welcome, everybody. Good to see everybody in the chat. Cornbread, Andy, Callie, what's going on? Sandy, good to see you. James is right now going through rural Wisconsin. He was just on here. He has cell phone signal. And Sherry's driving, so you never know what's going to happen. Thank the Patreons. Thank you very much to everybody here who is a Patreon member. Also, the YouTube channel members. Shout out to everybody whose name is green in the chat, or blue if you are a moderator or administrator. And since James is traveling, he does not have a new update to the Adventure Club. I don't know how much moving and shaking has been done there. So I'll wait to James to get back on here. He is going through his epic little rove. It's like 9 or 10 states, something like that. She's probably driving backwards, Chris. You're absolutely true. They were going through Wisconsin, the last I heard, and somewhere between cell signal and no cell signal, and they were actually driving. So, knowing Sherry, they're either driving backwards or they're on a sidewalk. But we'll see how this works out. James, can you hear me? Oh, yeah, I see you.
There we go.
Hey, I got your audio. Your video is kind of. There you go. I hear you now.
Okay, I was going to say it should fix in just a second anyway.
Yes, sir. We already said hey to everybody. We thank the Patreons and the YouTube members. I told them a little about your out west adventure so far. So pick it up while you can.
Also, to be here. I have an updated adventure board on Sunday. I've just been balls to the wall, driving in a straight line and looking at cows and corn. But a big shout out to Josh, Kilo 4 Lima, India, and Kent, Kilo 9 Alpha Echo Echo for all stream donations. And if I've missed anybody else off stream, I will get it in the email this coming week. So we'll get you there. How's everybody doing tonight?
We're doing good, man. How was your adventure with your sidekick going? I see you traveling down the road, probably about 112 miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm losing signal, because I'm driving faster than light speed. And, sometimes you pass up the signal sometimes, and I have to slow her down to like 998 or something. But
I do got to say,
anyway.
I do got to say, the parks you hit so far on 20 meters, your signal has been pretty good here, except for one. And I think we figured out after the fact that you had to walk in and you did a QRP. But we still got you.
Okay, yeah. The Lewis and Clark and the Mormon Trail in Nebraska. I did both of those in Nebraska and Iowa. But nice. The ones in Nebraska, I had to walk down to the river. So they were QRP on the KH3, but which was weird doing QRP and doing sideband. But I was trying to hurry, so
probably.
Yes, speaking.
Go ahead.
Speaking of the sidekick, I got a story that you guys are going to have to. So today, we're doing an activation. It's actually the last park you could do in Minnesota before crossing the river to go into Wisconsin. And, we're setting up and everything, and I've got the infed strung out and everything. Yes, I did use the PP Man spike. Worked wonders right there in the hard grounds of Minnesota. But I put the coax on the infed end, and I went to throw the coax over to the table, and I didn't know she was walking by when I did it. And when it flew by her, she jumped and screamed like crazy. And I was like, "What is wrong with you?" She said, "I thought you threw a snake at me."
Was this your orange coax?
No. This was black coax.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
Why would you think I was throwing a snake at you?
I wouldn't put it past you. So yeah, I mean, I understand where she might be coming from.
No, my orange coax does not have BNC on one end. So, and I did after, so I used my black.
Terry wants to know if you are visiting or have visited all of your corn children.
I did visit lots of corn children. I stared at them for about 46 million hours.
Yeah.
While driving through Iowa and South Dakota. But interesting thing, it's really flat out there. I say out there because I'm now in Wisconsin, and I actually have some ups and downs and mountains and stuff. So that's just great. But really funny thing, I had been driving for hours upon hours upon hours, and just flat, straight ground. And all of a sudden, we see a sign that says "Scenic Overlook ahead," and we're both like, "What are we going to be overlooking? An anthill?"
Yeah. So it's probably fair to say there's no soda summits out there for you to do, huh?
If there's a soda summit, it's a man-made building that they've disguised as a mountain, because there's definitely no ups and downs. I changed like 10 foot of elevation in one state, and I was excited.
I have never. So I have never activated west of the Mississippi. So even when I was up north, even though I was thousands of miles away from the home, the propagation and who I could reach was basically the same. Some people were louder than normal on 40 meters because I was closer to them and things like that. What have you experienced being that far west as far as the new people and call signs that you're not used to?
Well, it's absolutely crazy because, I do get California from time to time in West Virginia, but right now my activations are 8 up with California, Arizona, Oregon, and Washington. They're just tearing me up on 40, on 20, no matter where I go, they're just eating me alive. So it's good. I'm getting a lot of calls. Actually, we got a park to park from California, which was good because Sherry needed California hunted. So
you kind of stirred the hornet's nest when you spotted North Dakota too, didn't you?
Yeah. So after
wallered it around.
After an hour or so of driving around trying to find this place, I thank you very much for the super chat, Mr. Fox Sierra Zulu, who thought he missed Nebraska, but then he asked me later. He said, "Hey, was that the one that Terry yelled and told you that I was in there?" And I said, yeah. Maybe. And I went back and looked. He did get Nebraska. So, but it kind of confused people because I was spotted as Lewis and Clark, and you don't know where I'm at spotted as Lewis and Clark.
Yeah.
So,
I told you never left West Virginia.
We drove around for hours upon hours looking for this wildlife management area in North Dakota, and we passed it several times. And finally, I found this little tiny marker beside the road. And literally, we pulled in there. We're sitting on the side of the road that we can see 9 miles both ways. And I think maybe 2 cars passed us the whole time we were activated. But we sat there, and I threw up the Eagle One, and I spotted. And the second I spotted, it was I missed the first 10 calls of filming because I hadn't even pushed a button yet. I hadn't even done anything. It was on. And they just stayed on me and on me. And then I happened to notice, because I was trying to get in and out of there. And then I looked at the park, oh, there's not a whole lot of contacts here. I can own this park. So I passed out an early shift. And then I happened to notice that they're counting down. They're 8, 7. I'm like, what are they counting down for? And I look at the time, and I was like, oh, crap, it's late shift time. And so I went to the spotting page real quick, and I was like, late shift, 10 minutes only.
No joke. You spotted in North Carolina, and your pileup sounded like one of those bug zappers zapping mosquitoes in the Everglades around August. It was crazy. Tyler says you got to be on the lookout in North Dakota. Some of the POTA parks are off of I can't read today. Some of the POTA parks are a rock off a gravel road.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I'm sure this had a gravel road somewhere, but I found a little gravel pull-in. It it basically went up to the edge of the woods, pretty much.
Can anybody tell me how to get to this park in North Dakota? Yeah, go to that rock. It's painted white. That's it.
The funny thing, I told you we drove around forever. So when I used the GPS at first, and it cuts us down this little road, and we go between these two huge lakes. And I'm talking about the lake is probably 3 inches below the road level.
Wow.
And Sherry's already freaking out. Like, I hope it don't flood while we're here. I'm like, it's not going to storm while we're here. But we drove down this road forever, and we get up there, and all of a sudden there's these big mounds of dirt in the road, like stopping you from going further. Like, I guess they're trying to, where the road had flooded recently, they were going to spread it out. But it was just mounds of dirt in the road, so we had to turn around and go back.
Chris said, I'm glad you didn't use your APRS for navigation, and that's true. Every time I refresh on APRS.fi, your location, it jumps around. It's like, I really don't know where you are.
You know, my APRS don't know where I'm at. I've tried everything in the world. I don't know what's wrong with my APRS. It'll get you kind of close to me, you know, within maybe 40 miles of me, but that's about it.
Did you say there was a lot of APRS activity out there?
That's what surprised me. My APRS has not shut up out west, like Idaho, Nebraska, not so much South Dakota. South Dakota it started dying out, but Wisconsin, like, it's just, you ever get them people that'll text you and like they're telling you a story, but every word they hit send, like hey send, house, R send, you send.
Yeah.
That's what APRS was sounding like in some of these places.
Maybe they had an APRS beacon on each cow and on each row of corn.
I mean, I'd be out in the sticks of like Idaho and Nebraska. Was Idaho the dusty state? That's was that Idaho, or was that
Iowa?
Iowa. Why do I keep saying Idaho? I was in Iowa, guys, not Idaho. But Iowa is the dustiest state ever, because you'll be going on the 4-lane like 60 miles an hour, and you won't even, no warning whatsoever. All of a sudden, you're on dirt gravel road. And you drive like 10 miles on that dirt gravel road, and then it turns pavement again.
That is great.
It's just a weird thing. But I'd be out in the middle of nowhere. You don't see nothing. You see combines for people. And I'd be getting APRS beacons. And what the crap? I can't beacon. No.
Frank just gave us a little tidbit of technical information about APRS. Maybe there's a setting in your radio for ambiguity mode, which will kind of skew your coordinates so it won't be exactly where you are. That might be something to look at. All right, see, this is... All right, so I'm going to show you an example right here. Somebody who doesn't know what time the stream is. Look who's calling me right now.
Does it surprise you?
If it was shenanigans, I would answer it right now.
Right. It's normally when I'm activating when he calls me. So
right.
And he'll call me while I'm activating to ask me why I didn't hunt him earlier. Why are you not hunting me now instead of calling me?
Yeah, that is right. Oh, your challenge so far. How many people can you guesstimate you have in your state? Getting you every state on the road.
And this is just what I'll give you just a guesstimation. I'm going to guesstimate 12.
That's a good amount.
It could be considerably more than that. It might be 1 or 2 less than that, but that's a guesstimation. That's just people I know off the top of my head that I can remember that I think have got me in every state.
That is a good amount. That is a good amount of people. That's more people than you have in your PZN challenge.
Right. Considering it's a challenge based on when I'm activating, and you have to be ready. So, which most, it did cost time because there was, I've got this stupid park, and people be like, man, I missed that state.
Yeah.
And then I'll another, and work schedule. Most time I get motels 12:30, 1 o'clock at night. But I'm checking in to a motel at like 12:30 or 1 o'clock at night, and I'm like, yeah, why am I not sleeping in the car?
You should just go back for a week or so and just activate all of North Dakota. You'd be the first one to do it, I'd imagine.
I'm quite sure that. Even when we look at the parks in North Dakota that's been activated, the top activators are all from out of state.
Yeah. I don't know how many parks are in
Like
North
the park,
Dakota, but I'll tell you soon.
The park that I took the lead from, so now the top two would be West Virginia, but underneath that, I think it's like 2 Kansas and like 1 Wisconsin or something like that, something silly.
It's only 159 parks in North Dakota. We can do that in a week.
If you want to do that, if you're driving and I'm sleeping, maybe.
Yeah. We'd have to do it in the summertime because you're not going to do it in the wintertime in a week.
Nah, I don't think so. The problem would be, I hear going across the top of it is those big 100-mile stretches of no gas stations, no nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
You got to pay attention when you're at the top. I just barely scooched in the bottom corner and got out. I had planned on going to Fargo, but I got behind schedule, and I reworked it. Instead of staying in Fargo, I stayed last night in Alexandria, Minnesota.
Well, it sounds like the trip has been fun so far, tiring, which you'd imagine it would have been, and just overall blast. And it's not over. It's not nearly over. You still got a lot more to come the rest of this week.
Still got a lot more to come. So tomorrow, I'm going to try to get to the park a little early and activate myself. And then at 10-ish o'clock, I will be doing the first youth test for the PZN Youth Challenge. So the first kid will be testing tomorrow around 10 o'clock. And I would love to see him work a pile-up as part of this test, especially opening up.
Must be in the middle of 2 cell phone coverage areas. He'll probably be back in just a second. He's starting to sound like I can't remember who David used to say. Was it Wilford Brimley? No, it wasn't Wilford Brimley. I don't remember. I'm sure James will be back in a minute. But currently in Wisconsin, and he'll do some in Wisconsin, and then tomorrow the next day in Michigan, where he's going to meet up with a lot more people in Michigan. Peter Frampton. That's who it was, Peter Frampton. I'm sure he'll be back, though, once they get into some better coverage. They were only, I want to say about 25 minutes away from the hotel when the stream started. So apparently when the speed limit is 80, they still can't get to where they're going on time. So I thought if the speed limit was 80, that means you can go 90 or 100. Who knows? But, let's see. Let him know when you get, shoot him a message in Discord, Chris. Let him know you won't be available for morning activations. So he will know. I think he said before stream, I was talking to him. He might try to do an activation tonight in Wisconsin and definitely one in the morning. We shall see. Curtis, good to see you. Kilo Bravo 3 Charlie Mike Tango Roger. But yeah, he said some of the parks in North Dakota are just they're just, I mean, just like a little sign on the side of the road and that there's the park. It's like you're there. So Mike, I couldn't tell you exactly how many states he has to go. He's done 8 so far, I think 7 or 8. And I know he's going to hit, well, he's in Wisconsin, so he's going to hit Wisconsin. And then after Wisconsin will be Michigan. And after Michigan, I think, but I'm not sure, he's just going to mosey on his way back here to, back to West by God. So maybe he can tell you how many states do you have left. Yeah, how many more states do you have left to go?
Myself?
Yeah.
Well, after this trip, I will have 22 left, I think.
How many more states
Maybe
do you
23.
have? And how many more states do you have on this trip?
I've got two more states on this trip that I don't have. Okay. And then I'll probably get Ohio on the way back through. But 2 more that I don't have. So if you are still in the challenge, all you got to do now is get Wisconsin and Michigan, and then maybe in Ohio.
Nice. Fox Sierra Zulu got you on only the IC 706 and an NFIT. Very nice. Tyler, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you got some ideas. I did put out a little tour of the shack today, even though it's a mess.
And I apologize about keep cutting in and out. I normally will stop when I'm on the road and stream somewhere, but I am trying to get to the room at a decent time to where I can go get some dinner and then try to pull off a late shift tonight. So I'm technically doing this for you guys because I'm trying to get y'all a late shift tonight.
You want to get to the room fast enough so you can reserve the good corner chair.
Yeah, I try to. You know, nice to Terry. Every night I've taken a picture of the corner chair for him and put it in his room. So I hope he appreciates that.
Yeah,
see you in the chat tonight, Dan. I can't hardly see the chat.
Yeah, Terry's in here. Yeah. He says in Wisconsin they will leave the light on for you.
Well, you know, I hope what they leave is the door open to the cheese factory because I tell you, I love me some Wisconsin cheese.
Speaking of the devils, kind of like Beetlejuice here. You say their name and they show up. Cameron and Mad Mo.
What's up, Cameron? Absolutely. I'm in your state right now. I'm closing in on Middleton. I'm about 10 minutes out of Middleton right now. So
Madison.
No, Middleton is where.
Oh, okay.
Middleton might be Madison. It's like a suburb, I think.
I don't know. Never been there. I'm not gonna lie. So, all right. So, how long have you been in Wisconsin so far? Like, how many hours?
Wisconsin's not been real bad. Probably 3 hours.
Have you stopped for cheese?
I have not stopped for cheese yet. I've been trying my best to make it to this motel to where I can get some. I wanted to make it to the motel to stream is what the real plan was, and then I wanted to get some food and activate.
Cornbread said T.O. might be in your area right now. I don't know if he has APRS, but I would have thought maybe he would have went over to Utah.
Well, yeah, because they should be gone for that by now because it'll be this weekend coming up.
Yeah. Next year for that. Next year things will line up and mark that one
it
off.
was funny. It was funny now when I came through Missouri, I did see an APRS beacon from Kyle, but now Kyle was actually heading out to the same place I was. So
Nice.
but I did catch a beacon from him, which was funny.
Let me. I'm sure I'm not the first to say it, nor the last, but let me thank you right now for when you did your activation in Missouri. You did honor Jerry. And if anybody in the chat does not know Jerry, Alpha Delta Zero Bravo Charlie, he's now a silent key. Very instrumental in POTA, a very, very prolific hunter. Everybody who hears his voice knew it was him. And James gave everybody Jerry's signature, your 3-3 in Missouri. So that's where that came from. And thank you very much. And thank you to Jerry. You are missed and always will be.
Absolutely, absolutely. He is a great guy. And if you got me on that activation, when I get back, I am designing a 3-3 Missouri coin, and I'm going to send them out as long as you send me shipping if you got me on that activation.
Absolutely.
I will ask for because that log was kind of big, and I don't want to ship out 100 coins and pay like $4 or $5 a coin to ship them out.
Terry said he has it. No problem.
Okay, that's right. We're just Terry shipping, right?
Yeah. So hopefully,
Terry,
so hopefully, if anybody goes to Missouri and you're not from Missouri and you're passing through, give Jerry an honor and give people 3-3 from Missouri. Just keep them in your minds, keep them in your memories. That's what it's all about.
By the way, Terry, your signal's very weak today for some reason.
I think
he's probably going to tell me, but
he was running his
Terry,
stick.
I'm not used to hearing Terry so low, and every time he's got me today, he's been really low. So,
but he's got you in all the states, I believe, maybe even all the parks, which is great. So.
Who's that, Terry?
Yeah.
I know he's got me in all the states. I do believe he's got me on all the parks.
I know one of them was a new one for me. Sadly, North Dakota was not. I don't think, but one of them you did was a new one for me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny that you funded that one before. Because it's not been active.
Maybe it was a North Dakota, maybe it was a South Dakota one. One of the two wasn't a new one, and the other one was. I can't recall off the top of my head, but
now the South Dakota. I'm trying to remember which one I did there. I'm thinking that was a state park in it, and I'm thinking I did too many states now.
I'll tell you.
I'm thinking it's been activated a lot more, but that North Dakota park, I think it had a total of maybe 200 contacts total before I went into it.
See, South Dakota, you did Union Grove State Park.
Yeah, that was a state park. I thought so.
And for some reason, I don't have Sherry's logs from Minnesota yet.
I would send her an email.
I'm gonna have to email her. Maybe she'll get back to me next February.
If anybody hunted her on the 7th, I think her logs are not in from the 7th. I would flood her with emails complaining. But let her see what it's like when you don't turn in your logs. I would flood her. That's what I would do.
Has it been that long? You've been on this since the 7th? Let's see, in the 7th you hit Missouri. So yeah, it's been, wow. Time flies when you're traveling 80, doesn't it?
That was interesting. So and for those of you who are not in Discord, which are silly that you're not in Discord, you're missing a lot. But when I was in South Dakota, the speed limit was 80 miles an hour. And in construction, it was 65.
Now, if you are Kilo Echo Yankee Victor Delta, a speed limit sign that says 80 miles an hour really means 100.
Yeah. It really means see how fast your car will go. You're on the Autobahn.
Right.
She said that sign said, "Oh, Farmer's Autobahn," and just forwarded. Which wouldn't have been bad if we wouldn't been on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
You know I'm embellishing that. They don't have sidewalks in South Dakota.
Cornfields.
Hopefully, you got a
I'll
couple
tell you
good
what now.
pictures of those really long and, the long and lonesome highways east of Omaha.
Yeah. I took a couple of videos, and there's a lot of those daggone wind turbines out here too.
Yeah. Nothing but flat land. It'll be a nice spot for, about a 200-foot tower with a nice set of beams on top of it, wouldn't it?
I seen some really big radio towers.
Yeah.
I will say this about Minnesota. Minnesota must be really big on their radio stuff, because like when I was, I've been getting APRS pings the whole trip, but I noticed going through there, a lot of the ham clubs were advertising, come check out this, come check out this, we're doing this. And it was really, really cool. That they were advertising the Ham Fest. It's October the 4th. And so, hats off to them for figuring out ways to do stuff like that.
Curtis says the reason why they have those big wind turbines is it's hot out there. You need those big fans.
Oh.
That's the thing. It's the temperature's high, but it's not even hot for somebody from the east because the humidity's not there. I'd be standing out in 84 degrees weather and I wasn't even sweating. But now once I crossed back over this way, them sweat glands are back, baby.
Yeah, I want the people who live out in west that are used to that dry heat, the hot Arizona heat. And don't get me wrong, 108 is 108. I mean, even if it's 12% humidity, that's still damn hot. But I want somebody who lives in Arizona and is used to that dry humidity to come over here to the East Coast and let it be like 95 or 96 degrees with like 70% humidity. They'll know the difference.
After feeling that dry heat, I'll say the exact same thing. I will take 108 degrees out west in the dry heat than did Kyle just say hi, Mom? Is he saying hi to himself?
Absolutely. Narcissistic, tendencies right there, buddy.
But I will take 108 in this dry heat over 85 in West Virginia with like 70% humidity any day.
Yeah. How's it going up there in Missouri, Kyle? Good to see you. Frank says he's done both the high humidity and the low humidity heat, and neither one of them are fun. And I'll agree with that. But 84
here's
can
the
be
thing.
still pretty damn hot, depending on the humidity level, what it feels like, not the actual air temperature.
84 is hot, but when I did North Dakota, it was about 84 degrees, and I was literally sitting out in the sun because I had nowhere to go. I was sitting right in the sun, and I'll tell you right now, 84 degrees in West Virginia, I cannot sit in the sun because my radio will shut off.
We have the comparison. We have the comparison. Kyle, Mom says, there's nothing like East swamp butt versus West Coast swamp butt. Two different flavors of swamp butt. That is funny. I think the GPS just said get off the sidewalk.
It probably did. Anyway, big shout out to Kyle for coming out and hanging out with me the other day, when I was in Missouri. him and Dennis and Dave. That was fun. Even though they didn't activate with me, nobody wanted to activate with me that day.
They have better stuff to do, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was a setup by Kyle. Even though I'm not going to talk about his antenna, even though I'm not going to talk about his antenna again.
Did he forget his antenna or?
No, do you not remember me talking about his antenna on Shenanigans?
Oh, I do, but at least you remembered his battery. I mean, give him some credit.
I think he may have activated right before on CW. He had his radio out there playing with it.
Bang Bang has a good point. At least there's no roundabouts in a cornfield.
I've seen more roundabouts out west than I've seen anywhere ever, because they'll go 2 and 3 in a row. It's pretty crazy.
Cameron and Mad Mo just finished their activations.
Hopefully they got tons of contacts.
Mike, I can see that. So the dry heat is I don't know, how can I explain this? If it's 95 degrees and the humidity's 70%, the wind feels good because it's damp, so it makes it feel colder. But with a dry heat like Vegas, Arizona, California, I'd imagine, if it's 110 or so and the dry heat hits you, it's probably like a convection oven. So yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of the argument there. It's still hot. I mean, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Hot is hot, right?
I see John. I see John in the chat. Shout out to him and speedy recovery. Just had surgery this week, so hopefully you're feeling a little bit better, buddy.
I did hear still sounding radio, good. So that's good.
I was going to say, still sounding good on the radio. He's got me several times.
Absolutely. That's right. UTC Day it is 7-11.
And John's West Virginia signal has been better than Terry's West Virginia signal. I'm just saying, Terry. Although Terry did come through. I can't remember what activation it was, but he came through, and I know he had all 800 watts he had coming through me because he was loud.
There was a couple of times I know he took a cue from Toby and was standing on top of that desk with that D104 in his hand. I mean, I can imagine, the QSL card picture now, Kilo 8 Golf Quebec.
That'd be a really good this morning, picture, people who got me this morning, shout out to y'all, because the bands were crap when I activated this morning.
I tried to get you on 40. I got you on 20, but I tried to get you on 40 and no dice. Nope, wasn't going to happen because I posted a video in a little private chat that we got going on. My neighbor, the lawn care company came, right? And as soon as they fired up that Skag motor, it obliterated 40 meters. 40 meters. And then as soon as they shut it off, I got a video of them like shutting it off. And it's like the band gets quiet. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Well, it was funny because when I first fired up this morning, I was hearing this noise and it sounded like a helicopter. Like, woo, 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 woo. And I was like, so I tuned up and down a couple, and it was like that everywhere. And I was like, what the crap? I was like, I don't care. I'm going for it. And it's funny because this one guy was hunting me, and all of a sudden the noise stopped. And when he came back, he's like, "Oh, you're 5'9" now that the helicopter QRM's gone." And I'm like, "So this was widespread here, because you're not near me right now. We're on 20 meters, so I don't know. I don't know what that noise was.
Could have been anything. Over the horizon radar is normally a little bit faster than that. It's kind of like I don't know how to describe it, a buzz almost, kind of,
Well, I'm not a 20-meter guy. We all know that. But I thought, well, maybe 20 meters just ain't open yet. So that's why I did go to 40. I got activated fine on 20, but I said, let's get some more people because I really didn't want to do that second, Minnesota activation. I wanted to keep barreling toward this motel and getting here in time to strength. But that second activation, it kind of did it in. But it was a nice park other than paying $7 to get in it. But that that I could rant about that all day. There's some really, really nice parks in West Virginia. And these other states like, well, we keep our parks clean. I'm like, the parks I go to in West Virginia are clean. And our tax dollars pays for them like your all's tax dollars pays for y'all. What are y'all doing with this money?
Right.
I mean, and $7 to get in a park is ridiculous. Like, are you feeding the bugs? Are you buying bug feed to keep those big bugs? Those bugs in that park were immune to bug spray. I don't even normally use that much bug spray. And at that park, I had it all over me, and they didn't care.
You haven't seen clean parks unless you come to Georgia.
I've activated
I can
Georgia.
agree. I can agree and disagree. I mean, I've been in some parks that aren't too clean in Georgia. For the most part, the state parks are very nicely maintained. But you're always going to have that one nincompoop numbskull who likes to leave their trash all around.
Yeah.
And me at the park, I don't care if it's a WMA or a state park or a trail or whatever I'm activating. If I see trash on the ground, even if it's not mine, I'm going to pick it up and throw it away. If it's around me, I'm not going to go out of my way to drive around and find trash. But if it's around my activating area, I'm going to pick it up.
So I went up. Yeah. I went up to see the Lewis and Clark Monument, and I was really, really excited to go up there, and she parked the car so I could activate up there because not only was it part of the Lewis and Clark Trail, but it was also the part of the Mormon Trail. So I was getting a twofer there, and I said I'm going to do some CW here, but she backed over broken glass because people had just broke glass all in the parking lot. I'm like, why does people just go up here and just do stuff like that? But funny thing about the Lewis and Clark, I learned some stuff because I did go in the Lewis and Clark Museum even while I was on this trip. And, I've always activated, I've done Lewis and Clark, West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky. And I've always activated River, Lewis and Clark Trail. I always thought the Lewis and Clark Trail was all water. But water is just like maybe a third of the trail. A lot of it is on land. We actually drove for a long period in Iowa on the Lewis and Clark Trail. So
do you know what they need in the Lewis and Clark museum? I know exactly what they need in the Lewis and Clark museum. They need a bronze statue of you running FT8 on the Lewis and Clark Trail.
They would pay big money for that because, unless somebody was just using somebody else's body running FT8, it would be hard to get me to sit still to do that, to post for it. Unless you put me on the Lewis and Clark special event for the club, that would be about it, Maybe a bronze statue of me doing CW. Yeah, I'll take that.
I can't tell you the last time I paid to get into a park because I got the Georgia Parks Pass and I got a fish and hunting license so I can get in, the WMAs and stuff like that. The park pass is good for state parks. I want to say the last park we paid for was when me and James of the North went on our road in Florida because I do not have a Florida Park Pass, which I should get one.
Well, see,
right, I'm in Florida basically.
I did have a Florida Park Pass. It is expired now, but I know typically when I go down, like next year when I go down, I'll get one. I'll get it after February the 1st. That way it's good through March the 1st of next year. and it basically covers me for 2 years that way because I'm only down in February. So
Right.
I typically run that one, and I typically pay for that in the first 2 weeks I'm down there. So that's good, but it's just I don't know. The states I pass through, like and gotta pay. I say I do three parks in a state. It's not enough to buy a pass, but still
Yeah.
like $4 a park, $16 to just pull in and activate that's a little rough.
Yeah. Thanks for dropping in, Curtis. Have a great night, buddy. But yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, I live close enough to Florida, and I do enough Florida parks that I might as well get one to save me. It'll save me money in the long run over a year. So.
Right. Have a good evening, Curtis.
Especially
But yeah,
down in, especially at the Hamfest in Orlando when we go on a rove or something like that. It's going to save me money there for sure. So.
the lady tried to sell me a Minnesota annual pass today. I'm like, I don't think I'll need that, but thank you.
Yeah. Would you like to buy a Minnesota pass for the parks?
Now, I will say that the Minnesota annual pass, or maybe it was just for that park. I don't know. Maybe it's an annual pass to that park. But it was like $30 as compared to $7 to get in the park. If that's for all of Minnesota, that is a great deal.
Yeah.
Somebody from Minnesota, as I call it, would have to tell me if that's just.
What's the Florida park pass? Let's see. Individual is $60 a year.
I typically will buy the family because you can take 4 people. I never know who's going with me to the parks, so
actually,
buy
okay. The individual Florida park pass is $60 a year. It only covers you, the named pass holder. Each additional person is $2. Now the family is $120, but check this out: it's for a total of 8 people entering as a group.
Is it 8? Okay.
8 now. Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
And I'm going to tell you a little secret about that if you get that family pass. So, typically you got to have the card holder with you on that family pass. But you can tell them you would like to put 2 names on the card, and they will put 2 names on the card because typically I do my name and my mom's name. That way she has the pass all year.
Yeah.
And she can use that. She can use it all year, and then I can use it when I'm down there. So that works out great. Actually, she typically buys the pass. So
that is cool. Now all 8 of them do have to be in your vehicle. All the occupants of one vehicle up to a total of 8, including the pass holder, or 2 motorcycles, including the pass holder, or a total of 8 people entering on foot or a bicycle.
I would love to see me have 3 people in this vehicle right now on this trip. Because
right.
You haven't never seen a vehicle loaded down until you see me load down for a ham trip. And it's not the clothes and the stuff like that. You'd think it, Sherry brought 7 suitcases. No, it's James brought 90 things of ham stuff.
Of course.
Because you can never have too much ham stuff.
What are you going to do if you're out in the middle of somewhere in North Dakota and you need something? Better hope you have it.
Absolutely. I can't tell you the times that I've made stops, though, and although I have what I was looking for in the car, I used another option because I didn't want to unload parts of the car.
That's right.
So I have used a multitude of antennas.
I've done that in my truck. Like I know where this connector is I need, but it's way in the back of my truck, and I'll have to crawl back in there to get it. So I'm going to hobble something else together that's going to do the trick instead.
So one activation, I needed BNC coax, and I could not find my coax that I threw to Snake at Sherry. So I get in my QRP bag and I pull out some of the little tiny coax, And yeah, I ran 83 watts on that sucker just fine.
I'm not sure about all Minnesota parks, Kyle, but I guess definitely not the one that James went to. Was not free.
No, it was $7, and it was the last one I went to. Oh my goodness, what was the name of that thing? I'd know it if I heard it.
Afton State.
It's in a little ski town or something.
In Minnesota?
Yeah.
Afton State
Because I
Park.
seen. Yeah. They do a lot of snow hiking at that park because in the visitor center they had like all the snowshoes and stuff like that you could rent.
Now, I don't know the wildlife management areas here in Georgia. You don't have to pay to get in, but it says you do have to have a valid fishing or hunting license in order to be on the grounds. I've never, ever had a ranger ask me for one, and I've talked to plenty of rangers out there. They've never asked, but legally you do have to have a hunting or a fishing license to get into the WMAs here.
I've been through Georgia quite a few times, and I've activated in Georgia quite a few times. I've never had nobody ask me because I do not have a Georgia fishing or hunting license.
They're normally pretty cool around here. I imagine if they would ask you and you say you don't have one, they'll be like, "Oh, just make sure you get one." I mean, we're laid back. We're cool as a cucumber down here, man. We really don't care.
Absolutely. You know, I will tell you, I can't remember the guy's call sign, but when I was in Nebraska doing the one late shift, it was at a pretty cool park actually. But I did have a ham come up to me. Does not do POTA whatsoever, and talk to us while we were doing the activation for it. Well, actually, I told everybody, I was like, all right, I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm going to talk to a ham. And you know, POTA hunters like they are, when 5 minutes came back later, I said, all right, I'm back. And they were right there piled on. So
I met one coming out of the park when we were up at Georgia Veterans with Eddie and Ken. Had our little barbecue. I was leaving the park and I looked over, and it was actually an area that I activate in frequently right there near they got a model, not model, but RF plane field where you can fly your RF planes. And I saw a dude over there with a line come out of a tree, and he was doing this. And I was like, it looks like a ham. So I whipped in there, and they had a little Wolf River coil, like a Sporty 40 on the ground. They were taking down I guess an end-fed that they had in the tree. And I walked up there, introduced myself, and he was on his way through from Colorado, and sat there and shot the bull for a little bit. And it was actually funny to see. Like, man, that looks like a ham. Let me turn around and talk to this guy.
yeah, cool stuff. So can you hear the little doo-doo about every minute or so?
Every now and again I hear it, yeah.
In the back. Okay.
Is that your
It's went off quite a bit. That is APRS beaconing from other stations.
Nice.
So that's how active this stuff is out here. It's crazy.
That is nice.
Anyway, it looks like
Great
we are
stuff.
about at the end of the spring.
Your home park right now is being invaded by Whiskey 8 Victor Papa X-ray.
You know, he's been activating it quite a bit lately. I don't feel too worried. I do not feel too worried.
You should. He said he's going to pass your QSO count by 8:00 tomorrow night.
Well, good luck. That's all I can tell him. You know, if you pass my QSO count by tomorrow night, I will probably. I will guarantee you next Wednesday you will be on my stream talking to me about how you did it.
And you will get a special challenge going.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's for sure. Well, what about Terry? What's Terry been activating? What's Terry been activating while I've been gone down?
I don't know. I haven't caught him. I've been kind of like knee deep in work here.
I hear you.
I think he said his knee was hurting, or he had to wash his hair that day. He's not, not doing much.
All right. Well, anyway, it is Wednesday, and I will come in after chat and hang out for just a short little bit here. But I'm going to first go up to my room since I'm in the parking lot. I've been here for the past 10 minutes or so. and I'm going to go up to the room and actually hook up a computer to do it, and so I don't have to sit in this car. But if you do not know what After Chat is, it is a Patreon benefit. But lucky you, you can head over to Patreon and get a free 7-day trial, and then message myself or Dan, and we will get you set up for Patreon. Other than that, the car is now moving again, so I don't know what's going on at the moment. But I'll be in there shortly. Anyway, thanks everybody.
James is getting abducted.
I might be getting abducted, so don't worry. Follow my APRS, and you can get within 40 miles of me, probably.
Y'all have a great time. Have a great rest of your trip. Thanks for joining in, everybody.
All right, you guys have a good evening, and I'll see y'all on After Chat 73.
73.